Welcome, boys and girls, to the two-story boarding house. I'm Donna, and I'm waiting for my friend Lisa. She's going to be picking me up today and taking me to her farm. I've never been to a real farm before, so I'm kind of excited. She told me I should read a couple of books to kind of get me used to the idea of being on a farm. So I think what I'll do is sit over here, read a couple stories. If you like, you can listen. And by the time I'm done, she should be here. The first story I'm going to read is called The Giant Jam Sandwich, and that's by John Vernon Lord. And I wonder why she wants me to read a book called The Giant Jam Sandwich, because that doesn't sound like it has anything at all to do with the farm. But we'll see. And she should know, because she's lived on a farm all her life. Let's see. One hot summer in Itching Down, that must be the name of the town, 4 million wasps flew into town. That's a lot of wasps. They drove the picnickers away. They chased the farmers from their hay. They stung Lord Swell on his fat, bald pate. They dived and hummed and buzzed and ate. Sounds terrible. And the noisy, nasty nuisance grew till the villagers cried, "What can we do?" So they called a meeting in the village hall, and Mayor Muddlenut asked them all, "What can we do?" And they said, "Good question." But nobody had a good suggestion. Then Bap the baker leaped to his feet and cried, "What do wasps like to eat?" "Strawberry jam." "Now wait a minute. If we made a giant sandwich, we could trap them in it." What a good idea. The gentleman cheered and the ladies squealed, and the farmer seed said, "You can use my field." That's why she wanted me to read this book. Bap gave instructions for making of the dough. Mix flour from above and yeast from below. Salt from the seaside and water from the spout. Now thump it, bump it, and bang it about. While they were working and working hard, some more made a tablecloth out in the yard. When they were done, the dough was left to rise, till the loaf was a mountain in shape and size. That is a really big loaf of bread. I've never seen a loaf of bread that big. They hitched it up with a bit of a fuss to tractors, cars, and the village bus, and took it to the oven they had made on the hill with 50 cookers in an old brick mill. Back in the olden days, they used to bake things in brick ovens that they called a brick mill. For hours and hours they let it cook. It swelled inside till the windows shook. It was piping hot when they took it out, and the villagers raised a mighty shout. "Isn't it crusty? Aren't we clever?" But the wasps were just as bad as ever. Ooh. The loaf was left to cool, and then the people watched while 6 strong men took a great big saw and sliced right through, and everybody clapped as they cut slice too. The village bus, they all agreed, would spoil the fields of farmer seed. So 8 fine horses pulled the bread to where the picnic cloth was spread. The truck drew up and bumped out butter, and they spread it out with the flap and a flutter. Spoons and spades, slap and slam, and they did the same with the strawberry jam. I bet it took a lot of strawberry jam to put on that big piece of bread. Meanwhile, high above the field, 6 flying machines whirled and wheeled, ready for the wasps to take the bait, and then there was nothing to do but wait. Ooh, I hope this works. Suddenly the sky was humming. All 4 million wasps were coming. They smelled that jam, they dived and stuck, and then they ate so much that they all got stuck. The other slice of bread came down kersplat on top of the wasps, and that was that. There were only 3 that got away, and where they are now I cannot say. But they never came back to Itching Down, which is not a waspish sort of town, but a very nice place to dance and play, and that's what the villagers did that day. What became of the sandwich? Well, in Itching Down they like to tell how the birds flew off with it in their beaks and had a feast for 100 weeks. That's a lot of time. I wonder if this happened on Lisa's farm. I don't know, I'll have to ask her when she picks me up. She should be here pretty soon, but I think I have time for one more story. And this is the one she really wanted me to read today. It's called Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. And it's by Doreen Cronin, and the pictures are by Betsy Lewin. Cows That Type, I've never heard of such a thing. Let's see. That would be something to see, though. Farmer Brown has a problem. His cows like to type. All day long he hears, click, clack, moo, click, clack, moo, clickety, clack, moo. Now, I would like to see that. At first, he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type? Impossible. Click, clack, moo, click, clack, moo, clickety, clack, moo. Now, I have got to see this. Then he couldn't believe his eyes. Dear Farmer Brown, the barn is very cold. We'd like some electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. It was bad enough the cows had found the old typewriter in the barn, but now they wanted electric blankets? No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets. So the cows went on strike. They left a note on the barn door. The note said, sorry, we're closed. No milk today. No milk today, Farmer Brown cried. In the background, he heard the cows busy at work. Click, clack, moo, click, clack, moo, clickety, clack, moo. Stinking cows are typing again. The next day, he got another note. Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too. They'd like electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. The cows were growing impatient with the farmer. They left a new note on the barn door. No eggs, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard them. Click, clack, moo, click, clack, moo, clickety, clack, moo. Cows that type, hens on strike. Who ever heard of such a thing? How can I run a farm with no milk and no eggs? Farmer Brown was furious. Farmer Brown got onto his own typewriter. Dear cows and hens, there will be no electric blankets. You are cows and hens. I demand milk and eggs. Sincerely, Farmer Brown. Well, if Lisa's farm is like this, I cannot wait to see it. Now, Duck was a neutral party, so he brought the ultimatum to the cows. The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered around the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. All night long, Farmer Brown waited for an answer. Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note. The note said, Dear Farmer Brown, we will exchange our typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the barn door and we will send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows. Farmer Brown decided this was a good deal. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come with the typewriter. The next morning he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We'd like a diving board. Sincerely, the ducks. Click, clack, quack. Click, clack, quack. Clickety, clack, quack. The end. That is a funny story. I cannot wait to see my friend Lisa at her farm today. She should be here pretty soon. Thanks for coming and listening to my stories, and I'll see you again next time.
Hello, boys and girls. My name is Leanne, and this is the Two-Story Boarding House. Today we're going to read Gregory the Terrible Eater by Mitchell Charmat. illustrated by Jose Arriago and Ariane Dewey. Once there was a goat named Gregory. Gregory liked to jump from rock to rock, kick his legs into the air, and butt his head against the walls. "I'm an average goat," said Gregory. But Gregory was not an average goat. Gregory was a terrible eater. Every time he sat down to eat with his mother and father, he knew he was in for trouble. "Would you like a tin can, Gregory?" said Mother Goat. "No, thanks," said Gregory. "How about a nice box, a piece of rug, and a bottle cap?" asked Father Goat. "No," said Gregory unhappily. "Well, I think this is a meal fit for a goat," said Mother Goat, as she chewed on an old shoe. "It certainly is," said Father Goat, as he ate a shirt, buttons, and all. "I don't know why you're such a fussy eater, Gregory." "I'm not fussy," said Gregory. "I just want fruits, vegetables, eggs, fish, bread, and butter. Good stuff like that." Mother Goat stopped eating the shoe. "Now what kind of food is that, Gregory?" she said. "It's what I like," said Gregory. "It's revolting," said Father Goat. He wiped his mouth with his napkin. After Gregory was excused from the table, Father Goat said, "Gregory is such a terrible eater." "I wonder what's wrong with him," said Mother Goat. Mother and Father Goat ate their evening newspaper in silence. The next morning, Mother and Father Goat were enjoying a pair of pants and a coat for breakfast. Gregory came to the table. "Good morning, Gregory," said Father and Mother Goat. "Good morning," said Gregory. "May I have some orange juice, cereal, and bananas for breakfast, please?" "Oh, no," Mother Goat said. "Do have some of this nice coat." "Take a bite out of these pants," said Father Goat. "No," said Gregory, and he left the table. Father Goat threw down his napkin. "That does it," he said. "Gregory just isn't eating right. We must take him to the doctor." Father and Mother Goat took Gregory to the doctor. Dr. Ram was munching on a few pieces of cardboard. "What seems to be the trouble?" he asked. "Gregory is a terrible eater," said Mother Goat. "We've offered him the best: shoes, boxes, magazines, tin cans, coats, pants. But all he wants are fruits, vegetables, eggs, fish, orange juice, and other horrible things." "What do you have to say about all this, Gregory?" asked Dr. Ram. "I want what I like," said Gregory. "Makes sense," said Dr. Ram. He turned to Mother and Father Goat. "I've treated picky eaters before," he said. "They have to develop a taste for good food slowly. Try giving Gregory one new food each day until he eats everything." That night for dinner, Mother Goat gave Gregory spaghetti and a shoelace in tomato sauce. "Not too bad," said Gregory. The next day, she gave him string beans and a rubber heel, cut into small pieces. "That meal was good and rubbery," said Gregory. The day after that, Mother Goat said, "We have your favorite today, vegetable soup. But there's one condition. You also have to eat the can." "Okay," said Gregory. "What's for dessert?" "Ice cream," said Father Goat, "but you have to eat the box, too." "Yummy," said Gregory. "I'm proud of you," said Father Goat. "You're beginning to eat like a goat." "I'm learning to like everything," said Gregory. One evening, Father Goat asked, "Has anyone seen my striped necktie?" "Not since breakfast," said Mother Goat. "Come to think of it, I haven't seen my sewing basket today. I left it in the living room after supper last night." Father Goat turned to Gregory. "Gregory, have you been eating between meals?" "Yes," said Gregory. "I can't help it. Now I like everything." "Well," said Mother Goat, "it's all right to eat like a goat, but you shouldn't eat like a pig." "Oh," said Gregory. After Gregory went to bed, Mother Goat said, "I'm afraid Gregory will eat my clothes hamper." "Yes, and then my toolkit will be next," said Father Goat. "He's eating too much. We'll have to do something about it." The next evening, just before supper, Mother and Father Goat went to the town dump. They brought home 8 flat tires, a 3-foot piece of barber pole, a broken violin, and half a car. They piled everything in front of Gregory's sandbox. When Gregory came home for supper, he said, "What's all that stuff in the yard?" "That's your supper," said Father Goat. "Wow, it all looks good," said Gregory. Gregory ate the tires and the violin. Then he slowly ate the barber pole. But when he started in on the car, he said, "I have got a stomachache. I have to lie down." Gregory went to his room. "I think Gregory ate too much," said Father Goat. "Let's hope so," said Mother Goat. All night, Gregory tossed and twisted and moaned and groaned. The next morning, he went down for breakfast. "What would you like for breakfast today, Gregory?" asked Father Goat. "How about scrambled eggs, 2 pieces of waxed paper, and a glass of orange juice?" said Gregory. "That sounds just about right," said Mother Goat. And it was. That was our story about Gregory the Terrible Eater. Thank you, Gregory. See you later. Next, we're going to read another story. This one's called My 5 Senses by Aliki. I can see. I see with my eyes. I can hear. I hear with my ears. I can smell. I smell with my nose. I can taste. I taste with my tongue. I can touch. I touch with my fingers. I do all this with my senses. I have 5 senses. When I see the sun or a frog or my baby sister, I use my sense of sight. I am seeing. When I hear a drum or a fire engine or a bird, I use my sense of hearing. I am hearing. When I smell soap or a pine tree or cookies just out of the oven, I use my sense of smell. I am smelling. When I drink my milk and eat my food, I use my sense of taste. I am tasting. When I touch a kitten or a balloon or water, I use my sense of touch. I am touching. Sometimes I use all my senses at once. Sometimes I use only one. I often play a game with myself. I guess how many senses I am using at that time. When I look at the moon and the stars, I use one sense. I am seeing. When I laugh and play with my puppy, I use 4 senses. I see, hear, smell, and touch. When I bounce a ball, I use 3 senses. I see, hear, and touch. Sometimes I use more of one sense and less of another. But each sense is very important to me because it makes me aware. To be aware is to see all there is to see, to hear all there is to hear, to smell all there is to smell, taste all there is to taste, and touch all there is to touch. Wherever I go, whatever I do, every minute of the day, my senses are working. They make me aware. And that's the end.